Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we're going to be talking about Xinfin Network, aka XDC. So let's just dive in and let's start off with this tweet here from Utility Theory. So we do see, even being down 60% average on my XDC bag from loading up at 8 cents before the crash, XDC still excites me for what is coming in the future. I want to ask all of you out there that I'm sure are maybe down on an investment, whatever the case may be, how does it feel? Because to me personally, I have seen my portfolio fluctuate many times in the past. March of 2020, very rough time. I'm sure that anyone out there that was in during that time could also speak from experience that it was a dark time in crypto. Many didn't even know if we were going to bounce back. Fear was at the highest point possible. And it kind of feels like that at some points in time in this market where, you don't know what's going to happen next. You're questioning things. But I will say, for some tokens, I never question anything. I'm so confident that the future is going to be realized in through tokens like XDC. I never question, my bag being down an X% amount because, again, it still gets me very excited to know that we are so early and see the evolution of these markets and industries and, these sectors before our eyes. And for an example, we do see down here, if this does not excite you, you have not done enough research on XDC. We are close to witnessing banks flip the switch and start utilizing XDC as a trade finance ecosystem across the globe. And yeah, there's this video. It was an advertisement from the TFDI. This goes all the way back to August 8th of 2022. Listen closely to this video real quick.
The initiative is smaller players, new entrants, but all those trade assets are becoming accessible through technology. They need liquidity, and this liquidity can be provided by institutional investors.
So TFDI is one of those initiatives that helps bring people speaking the same language together and hopefully brings more people speaking the same language.
To trade assets originated by supervised financial institutions, could be large banks.
Yeah, I guess the video and the sound were actually off there. I don't know what was up with that, but again, you could see the value behind the TFDI, and when we look at them, you could see all of the major players behind this. In fact, they have over 270 banks, funds, and alt lenders that utilize finance transactions. Massive. They've joined the TFDI, and it utilizes one blockchain for trade finance tokenization and settlement, and that is XDC. It's the only one tied to the TFDI. And over here, you can see all of the major logos tied to this. You guys are more than welcome to look at all of these. These are some of the biggest names out there around trade finance, the banking scene, financial scene, all of that. I also want you guys to pay attention to some of the other ones down here in terms of the trade finance area, like Marco Polo is one that we've mentioned quite a bit in the past, but here's XDC. It's the only major one that is a blockchain technology, and you could see some of the other ones. I mean, like, some of these are also blockchain technologies, but they're tied directly back to XDC, like Trade Tech, for an example, tied right back to XDC. But a lot of these are major fintech companies as well. But we do see XDC, decentralized tokenized ecosystem for lending and settlement of digital documents, ISO 20022 interoperable. We do see Trade Tech, TFDI, infrastructure provider, TFDI, building the global trade finance distribution community, all through, again, collaboration. And we have the trade finance industry, XDC. You can see everything tied to this. Again, it's all kind of tied to ISO 20022 interoperability, which, again, we kind of talked about on why it is important for the evolution of a lot of these industries and these sectors. And yeah, I really do believe that as we focus on trade finance, we are seeing the evolution of it. And with XDC, like, there's only one blockchain that they're utilized through the TFDI, and that's XDC. Like, this is trade finance, tokenization, and settlement at a massive scale. Now, we also do see over here regulations. So regulations, I've always mentioned on this channel is a big obstacle to success around a lot of these tokens. We do see from X is in my future, regulations are inbound. This is exciting for XDC holders. And CryptoNair D posted this, XDC in May/June, English law will change. The Electronic Trade Documents Act 2023 will enable us to remove paper once and for all to create a cheaper, faster, simpler, and more secure trading system. All through tokenization and utilizing blockchain technology through the ITFA. Which again, the ITFA is the big name, and we do see the Electronic Trade Documents Bill was introduced in the UK's House of Lords on October 12th, and the bill has now completed its second reading as part of an expedited procedure. Next, the bill will go to the House of Commons, and ITFA are very confident that it will become law in early 2023. ITFA and the ICC United Kingdom worked closely with the Law Commission, a statutory independent body in the UK, to bring the bill to fruition. Yes, we are seeing regulations put in place. We're seeing these procedures being expedited because they are ready. We do see over here, R3 Corda and Swift convo about DTCC's Project Ion moving from T2 to T1. T1 brings that project to almost real-time settlements, which is T0. Forbes has also added DTCC to Best Employer 2023 list. Partnership DTCC plus R3 plus XDC. Listen closely to this video real quick.
In financial services, there's a lot going on in settlement and wholesale markets more broadly. Can you tell us a bit about that and a bit about how you're involved in it?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd suggest to you, Nick, that wholesale settlement using digital currency, CBDCs and stablecoins is arguably one of the most exciting use cases because it makes sense, right? So others you kind of look at and you squint and you really try hard to. And we're still trying to find the other use case, predominantly in the retail space. But in the wholesale space, it makes a hell of a lot of sense. I'm just going to point to a key project in the capital markets. There's a couple of them, but DTCC just recently in the last several weeks announced their Project Ion moving from T2 to T1. I mean, that's just enormous, Nick. I mean, the amount of efficiency that we'll gain moving from T2 to T1, and it's obviously not just the DTCC, of course, it's the entire ecosystem around the DTCC that needs to shift from a T2 to a T1. But what are you going to see there? So you're going to see, a hell of a lot more efficiency around liquidity management. You're going to see a hell of a lot more efficiency around operations. And you're going to get closer to kind of real-time settlement, which, of course, is a very exciting kind of, goal as we edge towards kind of, T0. Now, I'm not sure we'll ever want to get truly to T0. You might want to get to T0 minus a few seconds because of the netting issue.
Yes,
so, we've got to solve netting. But, in the capital markets, certainly settlement, reducing settlement windows, reducing counterparty risk, increasing liquidity efficiency are just some of the kind of key opportunities that we see there. In wholesale settlement, so I'll point to a couple of projects, Project Jura in particular.
Oh, yes.
That's now nearly a year old. Gosh, I can't believe how quickly 2022.
It's flown, right?
Jura is such a great project. The SNB, the Swiss National Bank, and the BDF, the French Central Bank, issuing their own sovereign CBDC into their own networks, and then have.
And of course, even they are surprised on how fast things are evolving within the space. Now, I do want to talk about R3 here because R3 is the big one. For most people out there, they probably don't even care about what R3 is doing. Well, here's R3's blockchain network Corda to use XDC as a settlement coin. This was implemented back in 2021. Which is a big game changer. XRP is also, it can be utilized as a settlement token on the Corda network, but XDC is the big one as a settlement token. I think that this is going to be a game changer. We've talked about this many times in the past. I think that R3 Corda is a giant. When we go and look at Impel as well, which is built out on the XDC network, this is R3 Corda XDC network bridge, allowing digital assets to be used for instant settlement amongst core dApps. Now, with that, right, with R3 Corda and XDC combining this, we focus on what R3 Corda is doing within the trade finance area as well. And when we look at R3 Corda's report on trade finance, we can actually see that they have an executive summary around trade finance. Blockchain has the potential to reduce operating costs in trade finance by 60 to 80%. 4 out of 7 current projects are built on R3 Corda. 2 early-stage government-backed initiatives were launched in 2018. Commodity finance is a growing area of interest, and you could see everything around this. Like, this is a game changer. This technology is a game changer around trade finance. I want you all to realize, and by the way, here's Marco Polo. Remember what we just recently talked about? Going back to this image here, Marco Polo is included on this, and there's a lot of other ones here as well, as you guys do see as they go down the list here. There's so much happening around trade finance, digitization, and tokenization. I want you guys to realize that blockchain technology is the big focus here around trade finance and the evolution of this system. This is a game changer, and I do believe that XDC, when we see this, when we see the evolution of trade finance in general, and we see the things put in place, the obstacles broken, aka regulations, we are going to see that major evolution of this entire sector, and XDC will play a vital role. I have zero doubt about that. R3 Corda has been focused on the trade finance market for a while. Going all the way back to 2018, we've seen a huge update around Contour. Contour was the big one. In fact, Contour continues to be a major player. And we actually do see down here that every growing global business needs finance. In 2017 alone, $15.5 trillion of merchandise exports were transported around the world across sea, air, rail, and road, and as much as 80% of the global trade required financing. As much as 80% of this global trade required financing. So trade finance, this is a giant opportunity. And we do see blockchain, a game changer for trade finance. Even back in 2018, they seen this as a big opportunity. And today, more than ever, it is still important to focus on this. Now, Contour, like I said, big game changer. This is a game changer company. We actually do see over here, from the XDC network, actually, it's funny. We do see, and yet it moves on. Trade finance, blockchain, Contour acquires assets from We.Trade. In today's announcement, Contour positioned its We.Trade acquisition as marking the start of consolidation in the blockchain trade finance industry, with Contour leading the charge. And here you guys have that announcement. Now, the funny thing is that a lot of people will probably say, well, this is Contour, this is not XDC or Xinfin. Well, let's go back to a few things. So here we have from Shelby Gossing. This goes all the way back to 2021. Contour now brings together 13 leading regional and global trade banks. And here you guys have all of them. These are the major banks that, again, going back to those initial images over here, a lot of these are listed under the TFDI. The global communities of bank and corporate clients. Contour's non-bank shareholders include R3 developers of the Corda enterprise blockchain technology on which the Contour platform is based. And here you have all of those, which are now operating in across 44 countries. But remember, considering the fact that Contour is built out on R3, means that we could still see XDC being utilized as a settlement and tokenization blockchain technology through Cordaps, meaning Contour as well. But we also do see over here, XDC Contour, the digital trade finance network, announces partnership with the Shenzhen FinTech Institute, a subsidiary of the People's Bank of China, PBOC. Contour soon to be integrated into Trade Finix platform. When we look at the network of Contour, look at all of the major players here. Now let's go back. Let's look real quick at Utility Theory's image. So let me open this real quick. Now, focus on the players down here and focus on the connections we have already to Contour. Finastra's here. Here's Finastra. You also seen Bolero. Bolero was one of the digital documentation and EBLs. I don't know if Cargo X is here, but I do know that there's a direct connection to Cargo X with Xinfin already. I think that might be through the DNI. But we also see a few other ones. TradeSun. I don't know if TradeSun is on here, but I think that I've seen it with, I want to say the DNI, but I might be wrong on that. But we also do see It's funny. Like up here, we also see all these major banks. I don't know if all of these banks are even with integration partners with them, but a lot of this is just technology providers. It's not so much banks. So I don't think that you'll see any of like the banks tied to this, but a lot of these are through electronic documentation, digitization, and automation platforms, which again you can tie right back to most of, if not almost all of the major trade finance groups like the DNI or the TFDI. But again, considering the fact that Contour is built out on R3, it allows for exposure to XDC through R3 as a settlement mechanism as well as a tokenization ecosystem, which I'm very, very excited about because all of these connections will matter when things start to go fully live. But there's quite a bit of connections already to Contour through XDC. I really do believe that at the end of the day, as we see things kind of continue to move on, we will start to see the evolution of trade finance through names like, again, Contour will be a vital player because of the connections to it already, but we want to focus on the organizations tied to this, aka the DNI, the TFDI, ITFA, which, again, XDC is already on the board with the TFDI, the ITFA, as well as the DNI. So I have zero doubt that as a technology provider, XDC will be utilized here. Like they will 100% be utilized within trade finance, digitization, and tokenization. I'm very, very excited for this because we are starting to see things move pretty quickly. Again, I always focus on the regulation aspect because before anything really starts to move, we need to have regulations in place first. And a harmonized approach to this is the best way to go about it. And through MLATR, that's the big one. Like that's a harmonized approach that will basically be the standard around this space for regulations. And with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, because definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on it because I'm a free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. It's just up to you all. Have a beautiful day, beautiful night, wherever you guys are on this before. This has been Nick. Peace out, guys.